this is a video about block gear changing. So we're going to be talking about specifically changing down the gears, and I'm going to do a demonstration drive of that so you can appreciate when to block gear change and everything like that. So we're going to be talking specifically about gear changing like fourth to second, third to first, maybe fourth to first as well, depending on the roads that I go on. So as long as you're braking enough, you can then swap to the gear that you want down, right? So I liken it to a staircase. You kind of tend to like go up the stairs 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, you see all of them 1 2 3 4 5 6, unless there's like circumstances which I'll talk about later, but you tend to go 1 2 3 4 5 6 and then you jump down to the one that you want. So let's just say it was a real staircase. You'd run up the staircase 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then if it's padded enough, you would then leap down to the bottom if you wanted to, or leap down to one of the ones that are down at the bottom. It'll be quicker, right, to get there. So we're going to talk about this now. The reason why I'm talking about this is because it's a fight between driving instructors and parents. And if you are a student and your parents are telling you to do one thing and then your driving instructor is telling you to do another thing, this video can be shared with your parents, right? Because they really don't understand. So the reason why they don't understand, right, is because they were taught a different way. They were taught to go down through their gears, to use engine braking to slow the car down, okay? They were taught that. That's what they actually did. I remember a story about a driving instructor years and years ago who was teaching like to go down all the gears, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to slow the car down. And then when he swapped seats with a student, he then drove home, and then he did a block gear change on the road on the way home years ago. And the student was like, "Oh, what was that?" And he was like, "Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You can think about doing that when you passed your test," right? So this is like years ago, but we do that now. We do that. So I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to show you about it in the book, right? It's really important. There's so much pen on here because this has been coming up for flipping years, right? So there's a little battle between going with parents and driving instructors. So I always have to, really kind of confirm that it's the right thing to do. Right, so basically, I just want to say that this book here, I love this book, this is my favourite book. This book was made in 2001, okay? This book was only made a smidgen before I started all my training. So I never learnt it. I never learnt it to teach the student to go 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. I never learnt it that way. It wasn't me, right? So I reckon that the swap over must have been very close to the time that I became a driving instructor. It must have been, because this book was made in 2001 and we were teaching it this way in 2001. But I reckon like in the previous edition, I reckon it was still doing like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I'm just going to share this with you now, right? This book is so old, that's why it looks like what it does. But selective and block gear changing, missing out gears, okay? The flexibility of modern engines and the efficiency of the braking system and gearboxes often makes it unnecessary to change into every gear when changing up or down the gearbox. We'll talk about up like a little bit, but we're going to be really focusing in on down. I'm going to do a demonstration. Okay, so missing out gears at the appropriate time will give you more time to concentrate on the road ahead and allow you to keep both hands on the steering wheel for longer use. Changing down. As a general rule, it is preferred and safer to brake to the desired speed and then change down to the appropriate gear. It might be necessary to maintain a light pressure on the foot brake whilst changing down. Yeah. So if you've seen any of my other videos, off gas, speed by brake, speed by gear. So it's off accelerator, onto brake, clutch down if you're in gears 2 to 6, and then you continue braking to the speed that you want, selecting the gear that you want by a block gear change if necessary at that point, and then you do the junction. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. So changing up, I'll just read this section as well. There are many occasions when missing out gears while changing up is desirable. However, don't accelerate too fiercely for too long in lower gears. This uses too much fuel, could damage your engine, could cause wheel spin and loss of control. So changing down, how many gears to miss out? 5th to 3rd, 4th to 2nd, 3rd to 1st. Most common gear changes examples of changing up: 1st to 3rd, 2nd to 4th, 3rd to 5th. Yeah, 3rd to 5th, going down like a slip road of a motorway, really bringing the speed up. I do 3rd to 5th, feel quite cool doing that one, right? 1st to 3rd, interesting. Yeah, maybe you'd have to be facing downhill. That's quite a big one, that one, isn't it? 2nd to 4th, again, like going downhill perhaps. You are not expected to change up with a block gear change on your test. Okay, but you are expected to do it to change down, all right? If you don't do block gear changing on your driving test down, you're going to get the eco box. There's a little eco-friendly sort of box, like are they driving the car eco-friendly? And you're going to get that ticked if you're going down through all of your gears, all right? So it's really, really important that we're doing this and we're competent at it, okay? So when you're doing this, you're going to be off gas, onto brake, clutch down. So you're putting this brake on, you've got the brake lights at the back. Everybody knows that you're slowing down, right? So you've got like this lovely red light on the back, like everyone back off, yeah, I'm slowing down. If you were going to be doing it with your engine braking only, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, your brake lights aren't on, okay? So nobody's going to know that you're slowing down by using the old method. So it's safer to use your braking system. It's also going to cost you less money if you're doing it this way as well, because you're just relying on your brake pads, yeah, and your brake discs to slow you down, which are cheaper items than the clutch and the gearbox. If you need to change the clutch and the gearbox, yeah, that is going to cost flipping thousands of pounds, yeah? So if you go down through all your gears, you are using the clutch too much, you are using the gear stick too much, yeah? You want to use the brake pedal, which is like a cheaper version. Like if you're just doing your brake pads, they're like less than £100 just to do your brake pads, but the clutch is like thousands, yeah? Like 1,000 something, yeah? Well, mine is anyway. And if you're having your gearbox done as well, it depends on which car you're driving to the expense of it, right? But yeah, it's going to range from like 750 right up until like 1,500 or more if you've got even like more expensive cars, right? So you want to rely on your foot brake because of the brake lights and also the cost of it. A family member that I've got goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm there just like, oh my God. And he's like, I don't understand why I have to like change my clutch and my gearbox all the time. He's like, he's had it changed like 3 times. And I'm just like, yeah, it's because you're overusing your bits and pieces, man. You just rely on your brake, yeah? You'll be like looking after the health of your car. It's like if you've got a biro pen and you're just like this all the time, yeah, the mechanics are going to brake quicker than somebody who just goes, I want to write with this pen, write it, and then put it away. Yeah. So I want to make this video today because a lot of people watch this channel, and when I talk about block gear changing, there is definitely like people on the comments just going, oh no, God, no. And I can feel that we've got people who have learnt it the old school way, or we've got parents who have learnt it the old school way. Now I've got to say that it must be really difficult, and I do feel quite sorry. I'm sorry about my camera setup. I do feel quite sorry for parents who have learnt it the old way and then their driving instructor is teaching their child to do it this way, because it must be really scary. Because when you're approaching a roundabout, let's just say you're in 4th and you go off gas onto brake, which is correct, and then you're going to go braking, clutch down as you're braking and then change to second gear if it's clear second gear, right? But the parent who hasn't learnt it that way is going to be really frightened, because they're going to be like, slow down, you're not slowing down in time. They're going to be freaking out because they expect you to go from 4th to 3rd to 2nd to 1st. So they will be literally panicking, right, that you're not slowing down. And they find it incredibly difficult to accept that this is the way. And that's why I wanted to show you the book, right? Now, basically coasting, right, which is often where I hear people say, oh, but you know, we're coasting and everything. Yes. I understand we've got to keep coasting to a minimum. Yes, we absolutely do. Coasting is when you put the clutch down and you've disengaged the clutch. The clutch plates are 2 round plates like this. One of them is connected to the engine. So if you imagine a pole with the engine there, that's the clutch plate. Turn the engine on, that one's now spinning. So this one's like spinning, so it's got all the energy. And then this clutch plate has got a pole and it's connected to the tyre. Yeah. So if you've opened your clutch by putting your clutch down, you've stopped the engine getting to your tyres. So if you're on a flat, you're eventually going to come to a stop because there's no engine connected to the tyres, yeah? So if you break the connection, it's just the wheels will then run out and then eventually come to a stop because there's no engine like stuck to them. Clutch down means your clutch is open, yeah? And that is coasting, right? So there's 2 ways of coasting. You can have the clutch all the way down, which puts you into neutral, right? Because you're literally not in a gear. There's no touching of the engine to the tyres. Or you could be in neutral physically with the gear stick there. Another thing that you shouldn't be doing when you're moving. So some people will come up to lights and flick it into neutral and then go up to it because they think it saves money. Maybe back in the olden days, it really doesn't like save that much money. Not these days. Not if you just go brake, clutch down. I'd like somebody to prove to me that the cost is going to be absolutely minimum with the cars the way that they are now. It's like people going down hills with the clutch down. Don't do that, guys. You know, you want your engine connected to your tyres when you go down a hill, so you don't go brutally too fast and overuse your brake and then potentially get brake fade, which is when your brakes heat up far too much and then they just don't work anymore. You'd have to be going down a really big hill before you start freaking out, right? You'd have to be going down like the French Alps or something for that to happen, brake fade. But you don't want to increase your chances of brake fade by unnecessarily putting the clutch down on a hill to save money. Yeah, you want to keep your clutch up in a lower gear so you can go down the hill in a supported and controlled way. Okay, so yes, coasting. People start freaking out like, oh, but my dad says that I'm coasting as I come up to the roundabout because I'm not changing down all through my gears. When there's good coasting and bad coasting, right? Good bacteria, bad bacteria. You hear the word bacteria, you start freaking out. You think, oh my God, it's bacteria. It's always bad. No, it's not. You've got good bacteria as well. So we're going to have to separate your understanding of coasting, right? When you're allowed to coast, or it's good coasting, good bacteria, right? It's called a controlled roll. So when you're allowed to put the clutch down, stopping at the side of the road, you're driving down the road, you want to pull up on the left. You have to coast to pull up on the left. You've got to. I mean, how else are you going to stop? The clutch must go down. So you have to do good coasting. So this is called a controlled roll to pull up on the left. So you'd go mirrors, signal, off gas, onto brake, braking, 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 keeping the clutch to the coasting to a minimum. So you'd go off gas, onto braking, 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 clutch down, continue to brake, then to stop. So the coasting has been kept to a minimum, but it's still there. And this is a good coast, so that's called a controlled roll. Another time that you controlled roll will be coming up to a closed T-junction. Or, no, let's just stick to that actually, a closed T-junction. Let's just say you're driving up to a closed T-junction and you know that you need to use first at the end because you can't see anything. Off gas, onto brake. Clutch down, not immediately, after you've broken a bit, so we keep the coasting to a minimum. Off gas, onto brake, clutch down, braking, 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 block gear change or change down to the lower gear, which is good coasting, which is the controlled roll. I mean, how else are you going to get down into the lower gear or to stop at the junction? You have to put the clutch down. You have to good coast to get to the end. It's called a controlled roll. So when you're allowed to do the coasting, it's called a controlled roll. When it's bad coasting, it's called coasting. Bad coasting, okay? Bad coasting would be when the clutch is fully down and then you're turning, it's like, and you have no intention of stopping or changing gear. So bad coasting would be, let's just say you're turning left, off gas, brake on, clutch down, and you leave the clutch down and you go all the way around the corner. Coasting is bad because it affects your braking system and your steering, okay? Because your engine's not attached to your tyres, right? So things are affected. So you can have really like wide turns, or your brake, you're like, why is my brake not working as well? It's because your clutch is down first, yeah? You should use this is getting a bit technical now, I hope you're still with me. But if you want a rule, you can, in first gear, you can put the clutch down first and then brake, because you're going so slowly anyway. And then if you're in gears 2 to 6, then you would tend to use your brake first if you're going fast enough. So you go off gas, which is your first point of braking, then onto brake, then the clutch goes down. It's a good coast. Every time you change gear, you've got to good coast. I mean, how else are you going to change gear? So that's a controlled roll every time you change gear. Yeah. So parents are going to start freaking out. Oh, you're coasting. Yeah, we've got to keep it to a minimum. Let's just say there's some traffic lights up ahead and they're miles away, and the student goes off gas, on brake, clutch immediately down, and then we have it down the whole way. Yeah, that would be too much. That is too much coasting, right? We are just rolling like a big ball. But we'd want to come off the gas onto brake, braking, lightly braking, lovely brake lights on the back, yeah. And then as we get down to that area of stopping, or stopping, let's just say the lights are red, clutch goes down. Yeah. Now, if the lights turn to green, then you could change down at this stage to a lower gear and carry on. So you could do like 4th to 2nd and carry on at the green light, or you could just go braking, clutch down, rolling, get to really, really slow, and then you can use first. Yeah. You have to be going slow enough to put it into first. If you ever feel resistance putting it into first, you're trying to enter it too early, the car is going to try and help you not to go into first gear too early. It will block you out. Yeah, it's going to be like, oh, that's hard. Don't push through it. The car's communicating with you. You're going too fast. You need to be close to stopping to enter first gear. You need to be underneath 3 miles an hour to enter first gear. That's really important. You could fail if you went 1, 2, 3 and by mistake you went 1, 2, 1 and lifted your clutch. That could be an absolute disaster, because when you lift your clutch, you'd go really slowly with all the engine braking because you're expecting it to go faster in third. But then when you lift up the clutch and you're in first by mistake, the car's going to go really slowly because of the engine braking, and the person behind is in danger. We need to keep coasting to a minimum. Yeah. Coasting, just reading from the book again. Okay, so coasting means that although the vehicle is moving, it's not being driven by the engine, hence the hand movement thing that I used to do, that I just did even. Either when the clutch pedal is held down or the gear lever is in the neutral position. Any form of coasting is wrong because it reduces the driver's control of the vehicle. You might have difficulty engaging a gear if something unexpected happens. It would almost certainly lead to the vehicle gathering speed when travelling downhill, which we spoke about. It would mean harder braking, which we spoke about, and it removes the assistance of engine braking in the lower gear. Each time you change gear, you coast a little. This is unavoidable, but it should be kept to a minimum. And then I've written here, it is also unavoidable to coast up to T-junctions, traffic lights, but should be kept to a minimum, which we've already spoken about. Overrun, which is my favourite thing to say ever if you follow this channel. If there is only light pressure on the accelerator pedal when the vehicle is travelling at speed, the engine may not be appearing to be driving the vehicle. This is known as travelling on overrun and should not be confused with coasting. So when you come off the gas, that's got nothing to do with the clutch, that you are just allowing the car to drive on its own. So I'm constantly saying to my students, off gas, overrun, overrun, overrun. If you learn to drive with me, you know what I'm talking about, because I say overrun on every single lesson that you ever have from the very, very beginning. All right. There is no loss of control on overrun because the vehicle is still in gear, and neither the engine braking or accelerator, and either engine braking or accelerator are available immediately, because the vehicle is still in gear and either engine braking or accelerator are available immediately. Yeah, exactly. So if you went to the brake, well, it's saying basically if you went to the brake would be really efficient because your clutch is still up and you are still controlled by your gear with its restraints. So for example, if you're going down a hill, second gear would keep you more controlled going down the hill than like a really high gear like sixth, you'd fly down the hill because you haven't got any engine braking. Hope that makes sense. So I just really wanted to make that clear. It's another geeky one today, so I hope you stayed with me. But I really, really hope that helps you, okay? And I really hope that helps your parents as well, because you are going to be relying on the foot brake to slow you down, and then you choose the gear that matches the speed that you are now travelling at. So if you're nipping down the road towards a roundabout in fourth, you know that at the roundabout you're either going to use second or first in a town, if it's clear second gear. So you know that you're going to use second or first, so you go off gas, onto braking, 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 clutch down, braking, braking, change into second as you'll continue to braking, braking. This is your controlled roll. Then you look to see if it's okay. Can I go? Yes, I can. Off brake, gently off clutch. Do the roundabout. If you can't go, off gas, onto braking, 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 clutch down second with the hope to use it, braking, braking, braking. Can you go? No, I can't. Brake to stop, pop it into first gear because your clutch is already down. I've made videos about that before. Okay, so I'm going to drive around now and I'm going to do some gear changing. It's raining. I might actually have to choose a different day to do this because it's just highly annoying. But at least I've done this voiceover now and spoken to the camera about it. But I'll wait until it clears up a little bit. All right, guys. So block gear changing. If you're going to block gear change, it's fine. But if you are going to go to first gear, you do have to be very close to stopping for that one. Okay. You do have to be slowing down enough to go to the lower gear. Even though you've got the clutch down, you're in neutral, you still do need to be going slow enough. And then when you lift the clutch, whatever you do, lift it gently and slowly, because otherwise you're going to go like this. If you don't brake enough and you've selected a lower gear and you haven't broke enough, when you come off the brake and off the clutch, the engine braking will cut in. Yeah. So if you're traveling too fast for the lower gear that you've just selected, when you lift the clutch up, the gear will be responsible for pulling you back, which is engine braking, because the gear's like, oh, this isn't my capabilities are this much speed, but you're going like more than that. So I'm going to insist that you go slower, you know, because the engine braking will bring you back. That's why you can fail for going to first. If you go 1, 2 and what you thought was 3, but go back to first by mistake and lift the clutch, first gear will be like, oh, okay, cool. I start at 3 miles an hour. So that we're going to go back to that now, even though you think we're going to be doing 25 now. No, we're going to do 3 miles an hour and it's going to engine brake you down to that. And the person behind is in serious, serious danger. Yeah. So you still do need to brake enough. You've got to brake enough. Otherwise, the engine braking is going to pull you back and you're going to go like that. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable, yeah? Or if you just lift up the clutch too quickly, you're going to go like that because you smash the clutch plates together. One of my students once said that you need to bring your clutch plates together like a clap of the hands, but you don't make a noise. I thought that was really clever. So I liken it to staying on the biting point for 2 car lengths like that. But I like that. So you come together, but then you don't let it clap, and then you hold it for 2 car lengths, and then you come off, and then they stay together, yeah? Clutch can go down as quickly as you like, but when they come back together, it's got to be careful. All right, guys. So I really hope that explanation helps you, and I hope that helps the people who go through all their gears. One of my friends is an eco. So he tries to help companies save money, right? So he'll go into places like the Royal Mail. He'll go into places like Waitrose, where they have all the vans, yeah? And Waitrose is like, how can we save money? Oh, we'll get a driving instructor to tell us how to save money in the car. What can we do to drive more fuel efficient? So one of my friends does that. So he goes in there and he will fill the tank up, they'll go to the petrol station, fill up, and then they'll drive around. And if they're old school and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So he'll just allow them to do that for an hour. Then they'll go to the petrol station, fill it up, and they'll note how much that costs. Then they'll do it again. They'll do the same route and he will teach them how to go block gear change, like you're being taught by your driving instructor since 2001. And they save literally half the fuel. My friend was telling me they can save an absolute fortune. So my friend was literally like, honestly, they save nearly half the fuel. And I'm like, wow, okay. Because you're not using the engine to slow you down. The engine is working less. So it's not burning away all your fuel. You're just relying on that brake pedal to slow you down. All right, guys, I think I've been geeky enough here, haven't I? I'll just do a small drive. I'll probably just like stick some stuff together just so you can see it. I won't make it too long just because it's 24 minutes already, guys, okay? But I really, really hope that helps you today, and I hope that really clears things up for your parents if they're trying to teach you this, yeah? It was before 2001 that this was being taught, okay? So since 2001, at least, we've been block gear changing, all right? So if you need to show this to your accompanying driver, then please do, yeah? Because it is the up-to-date version of doing it, okay? For saving your gear stick and your clutch, for saving petrol, and for the brake lights at the back to help everybody know that you're slowing down, all right? And probably other reasons which you can put in the comments if you want to, but I can't think on my feet now, right? But definitely those. All right, guys, all right, so have a look at this, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, guys, so I'm approaching the roundabout. I'm going to be in fourth, actually, just for this, so you can see the block gear change. So mirrors at the roundabout, I intend to use second or first. Speed by braking, 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 braking. Clutch down, block gear change to first gear, checking to see if I can go. Yeah, I can make it before the van. Staying on the biting point, mirrors to the left, signal to the left. So I block gear change from fourth to first. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take it from here. I've got to be careful with my approach, slightly different because I've got bad weather and I can't be too close to the person in front, but I am in fifth. So I'm going to be taking the next road on the left, so it's mirrors to the left. Timing my signal now. Speed by, braking, 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 going into the slip roady bit. Braking, 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 clutch down out of fifth into second, off brake, clutch coming up to the biting point. So I block gear change from fifth to second, mirrors to the left, signal to the left, and braking, keeping to the left target, focusing as I go forward, keeping good position as I enter the road. Okay, so the lights are red ahead, so mirrors, speed by braking in fifth gear, speed by braking, 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 clutch down, rolling, 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 and into first. So that was a block gear change from fifth to first. At the traffic lights, I'm going to be turning left. So I'm in fourth, so mirrors. Speed by braking, braking, braking to abide by the 30. Braking, 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 mirrors. Signal. I did mirrors before my braking, by the way. Mirrors, signal, speed by braking, 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 clutch down, braking, braking. First gear, braking, braking. Handbrake on. So, yeah, and I can go straight away. Mirrors again to the left to check for bikes. So that was a block gear change from fourth to first. Okay, guys, so I'm climbing this hill and I'm in third for the strength of the hill, but there's a traffic jam. So mirrors, speed by braking, 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 braking. Traffic ahead is moving, braking, 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 braking. Clutch down, still don't know which gear I'm going to use because I can see movement up ahead, braking, braking. Clutch down, first gear. That was a block gear change to first gear. Catch the biting point before I roll backwards and moving off. So it was extremely helpful for me to go to third to first. I read the traffic ahead. I know you might not have been able to see that on the camera actually because of the large vehicle that's in front of us. But I could see movement, so having the strong gear first gear to be able to then drive away again was extremely useful, and I never had to stop, so that was great. Okay guys, so I'm going to be taking the next road on the left. I've put myself into fourth for the purposes of the video. Mirrors to the left, signal to the left. Speed by braking, braking in fourth, braking, braking. There's a pedestrian nearby, braking, braking, braking. Clutch down, second gear, braking, braking. Off brake, clutch coming up to the bike. I can make it before the pedestrian. That was a fourth to second turn. I'm just going to do a generic kind of like third to first at this closed junction. Mirrors to the right, signal to the right. I'm in third. Speed by, braking, 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 braking. Clutch down, block gear change to first gear, checking both ways. Yep, nothing to give way to, finding the biting point. Yep, that was a very typical third to first. Guys, do you know what? I think I'm going to try first to third. I mean, it just goes against everything in my soul to do this, but I want to kind of see what that's all about. I never teach this, but I want to see what it's all about. First gear, checking all the way around. Oh, this is so weird. Right, using first gear, I better be going fast enough for third. First to third. All right, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Don't recommend it. I think it looks more like a mistake, to be honest. I don't think a learner should be going to test doing that, really. That looks weird. I recommend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then skip down the gears. That was interesting. I did have to make sure that I was going fast enough to go to third gear, so I did make sure that I was at 15 before I changed into third gear, because third gear will accept at about 12 to 15. So I couldn't do it too early, otherwise that would have just turned into a stall, basically. So yeah, I had to be careful about that I was going fast enough for that. Fascinating. Okay. So I'm gonna, just for the purposes of teaching and understanding, I'm gonna be doing the block gear change from second to fourth. I've got a learner in front of me, so I'm just gonna let him get away. Okay, cool, he's turning. Right, I'm deliberately gonna stay in second while he does his turn, and then I'm gonna try the second to fourth. I do not teach this to my students, okay? I just wanna do it for the purposes of the exercise. So I'm in second, mirrors. Right, using second much more than I would usually. Second to fourth. Okay, and now I'm at 30. Do you know what? It feels all right. It feels all right, but I wouldn't be teaching it. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is well, I'm going to teach it like that still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skipping out gears, I don't know about that. I don't think it's really necessary for the situations that we're in. I just feel like it looks like a mistake. A lot of my students who make mistakes will skip out gears like that, but it's a mistake. You know, like all of the muscle is in the low gears to build speed. I recommend from my own point of view that you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, unless you're bombing it down the slip road of a motorway, and then you can go 1, 2, 3, and then possibly block gear change to fifth if you want to. Yeah, but again, it's not like mandatory, because you're skipping out the muscles, you're skipping out the power to like get going, you know. So changing up gears is not something that I teach. My students will report to you that I don't teach that. Anywho, let's carry on. Hey guys, let's have a look at a quite high gear change. I'm deliberately going to go to sixth on purpose. So speed by braking, turning left, mirror signal. Speed by braking, sixth to second, off brake, clutch coming up, and turning again to the left. Cool. So just for the purposes of the exercise and the video, I decided to use sixth. I don't think I would like normally be in sixth to climb that hill. I think I'd be in a lower gear, but I just wanted to show you sixth to second. The car coped beautifully, because I just went brake, clutch down. All right. Here's another third to first. Mirrors to the right, signal to the right, speed by braking, clutch down third to first, lifting up to the biting point just to get a bit closer to the blue car, clutch down first now and then braking. Finding the biting point. Okay, looking both ways, yep, no one around. And going on to a 50. So I'm just going to get up through my gears, and I'm just going to show you another block gear change down at the bottom. And staying in fifth at the moment because of conditions. I'm only doing 44. I don't feel the need to use sixth. Checking my mirrors. I want a little bit more control in fifth because of the conditions. Okay, so there's a 30 coming up. So fifth, I recommend fifth to fourth, just in case you get it wrong and then you go to second by mistake. I strongly advise, but you can go fifth to third, mirrors. Speed by braking, clutch down fifth to third, off brake, clutch coming up, and then using third. So I recommend fifth to fourth, because if you get that wrong and get second by mistake, if you haven't used the palming technique, right, which is a way to hold your hand, then if you go fifth to second, it's not going to be the end of the world. It will feel horrible, but it won't be the end of the world. If you go fifth to third, which is fine, but if you get it right, that's fine. But if you do fifth to first by mistake, that is a disaster. You are going to fail. So if you are going to go fifth to third, make sure you are seriously competent at that. Make sure you really know what you're doing. I recommend the tap routine from fifth to fourth. You just literally tap tap it out of fifth with the clutch down, and then once it's in neutral, tap it down. So it's lightly tapping it, all right guys? I really strongly advise that. Fifth to fourth, and then for more difficult driving, like that gets bendy, then go down into third, all right? Okay guys, so I really hope that's helped. It was quite interesting to do the gear changing up, which, like I say, I do not teach. I do gear changing down as standard. Gear changing up I just don't think is necessary, guys. Like, to be honest, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then skip down to the gears that you want, okay? So when I did that fifth to third earlier, that's because I didn't feel safe enough like to do sixth. I had to keep myself safe over the wanting to make a video for YouTube, yeah. So I did fifth to third, but you know, fifth to fourth, like I say, I do recommend that. I wanted to do sixth to fourth to show you that, and you can do sixth to third because that's another block gear change, right? I wanted to show you that, but for the conditions, yeah, fifth to third was good enough. Really, I hope all of those examples are good for you, and I hope that makes a bit more sense to everyone. All right, guys? So anyway, I shall see you on the next video, guys. All right? Take care.